trust.
All right. So could we list that as separate items just to avoid the, is that possible? Just have the separate agreement with the held trust agendized so he can simply recuse himself from one item?
Tony, either way, we could pull it or he can be recused. Tony, do you have a preference, or Lee?
I have no preference. I can split it.
Yeah, if the rules committee wants to split it, there's no reason we can't do that from the administration's perspective. We can do that.
That's going to be incorporated in my motion to split it.
Okay.
All right. I forget where I left off because I've been scrolling down here. Let's just say we're at, what was it, pages 12 and 13, something like that?
It works.
Okay. If anybody saw anything in the meantime, feel free to stop. Pages 14 and 15. Pages 16 and 17. Now we're finally off the consent agenda. Pages 18 and 19. See several deferred items here. Pages 20 and 21. Pages 22 and 23. Pages 24 and 25. Uh, 26 and 27. Pages 28 and 29. Are we persuading you, Vice Mayor, yet to go to 11?
Not yet, but I have a feeling I'm going to get. I have a feeling I'm going to get overruled. But let's just keep going.
Okay. Pages 30 and 31. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of public comment, I expect, on 10.2. Okay, and that's it, unless there's an epilogue. Okay.
All right.
So let's go to the public.
Real quick, I'm sharing the ads. I'm sorry,
Oh, your
I
ad
told
sheet.
myself.
Forgive me.
So ad sheet.
Could you show us the ad sheets? Sorry.
It's two minor things.
Okay. Actually, we're not seeing it yet on screen share. There it comes. Okay, special event, accommodation, and board appointment. Okay, great. Thank you, Tony. All right, let's go to the public. Shani, welcome. Shani, we're having a hard time hearing you right now.
There is a lot of echo. I don't know. I think it's my.
You may have two devices on at once.
No.
No? Okay.
Can I try again?
Go for it.
Okay. So good afternoon again, Mayor Ricardo and council members. I'm Shani Kleinhaus, the environmental advocate for Santa Clara Valley Audubon Society. We sent you all a letter asking to immediately put an end to the electronic billboard phase 2 project, and that is what I was hoping to talk to you about today. I know there was a full page ad about this in the Mercury on the weekend. We were not party to that, but we support the stop to the effort. I've been to so many meetings in San Jose over the past decade, and I cannot remember a topic that is more abhorrent to the community at large. I talked to many community members, both our members and others, over the past few months, and the first response is surprise as to why are we doing this. The second one is anger, they really shouldn't be doing this, and frustration, and people want this stopped. And not only that, they want phase 1 reversed. They don't want that light pollution, and they don't want, they want the existing signs removed, but they don't want to see them replaced with electronic signs. Instead, they don't want the advertisement for casinos and liquor and political ads and ambulance chasers and so on. They just want a good night's sleep, and they want to have no intrusion. The existing billboards and signs are aesthetic blight, no doubt, but the proposed replacements of electronic signs are hazardous to safety, to health, and to the environment. And people are concerned with the way that the electronic signs use modern technology to spy on them by beacons and vehicle recognition and geolocation technology. This project brings no benefits to the community, only costs and hazards and privacy issues. And we ask you to put an agenda item to just put an end to it immediately, to allow planning staff to attend more urgent issues that are really more important these challenging times. So thank you.
Shani, thank you. Could you stay on for just a moment, Shani? Or she was cut off here.
I'm here. I'm back.
Are you still with us?
Yeah.
Shani, I'm aware of the issue you're referring to. I don't see it on the agenda. Am I missing something? Was there something specific here?
No, maybe I'm not thinking at the right time, but we were hoping that it will be on your agenda, so you can put
Okay.
it on the city council agenda and just.
All right.
try
Yeah,
to
this is an
stop
open
it.
forum item. Yeah, appreciate the point very much. Thank you. Happy to talk to you offline about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. Those are nice words from the last speaker. Thank you for them. I hope the efforts of the new fireworks ordinance and its possible eventual use of surveillance tech and ticketing people does not start to move into homelessness and trash issues or into other government projects, city government projects at this time. As I move into another speech here, your words of privacy policy yesterday were really interesting, and it looks like you're trying to find ways to address of accountability issues. So good luck in those efforts. I hope to speak to item 10.2, and you had this issue kind of on your agenda last night. I hope the Envision 2040 plan will simply want to better consider what can be the next generation of ELI, VLI, mixed income housing ideas. CASA housing advocacy ideas of the past few years has helped blossom new good ideas in equity and reimagine at this time. I hope people from Envision 2040 will want to learn to help facilitate such good dialogue. Cities like Fremont and Redwood City and even parts of ABAG are reviewing their years of creative affordable housing ideas and the state bureaucracy that can often clog these good intentions. Thank you. It sounds like you have good items in your consent calendar this coming week that are interesting. So thanks for your agenda, and I guess thanks for the meeting last night.
Thank you. Call-in user number 2, please. We're just speaking on the agenda setting for December 15th. welcome.
Yes. Hi, this is Martha. I think it's really important especially for next week when we might have a lot of people wanting to testify. Please, we need to have a procedure where somebody's watching the screen to make sure people are being recognized. I'm probably going to call in. I had a hell of a time getting through last night. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying it happened. My hand kept disappearing and I had to keep calling back in. So I really appreciate Henry Smith. I'm trying to work with him so we can find out what the glitches are in the system. So Henry, thank you very much. And I have been sending emails on this matter since August. So hopefully next week I won't have a problem getting through. Thank you.
Okay, we'll keep an eye open and Martha, I apologize if there's anything I did, but it's not unusual that I'll see literally no hands on the screen and then find out later that folks were trying to get in and because of the challenges of getting into the system simply didn't get recognized.
Hey,
Chad?
Sam, at this point, this is the point where you blame the vice mayor for those.
Yeah, that's a vice mayor's fault. Chad Horrell?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Chad Horrell and I'm representing DoorDash. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and the San Jose City Council for allowing us the opportunity to testify today at the committee hearing. We understand the challenging time that restaurants are having during the ongoing pandemic. Because of this, we have made substantial investments into restaurants and our Dashers to ensure that we all survive. DoorDash has committed millions of dollars through our Main Street Strong initiative, which includes commission relief when the pandemic first hit, deep discounts on our storefront platform, which allows restaurants to connect with customers online. And right here in San Jose, we have provided $150,000 for restaurants through winterization grants. Restaurants on the DoorDash platform were 6 times more likely to stay in business during the pandemic. While some have lost their jobs during the pandemic, DoorDash has provided a flexible, meaningful earning opportunity for these workers on our platform. Across all of our operations, since the first stay-at-home orders went into effect in mid-March through September, 1.9 million new Dashers joined the platform. Dashers overall earned more than $3.5 billion during the first 6.5 months of the pandemic, with approximately 60% or $2.1 billion of that total being earned by Dashers who live in zip codes with above average Black and/or Latinx representation. We are happy to report that Dashers delivery drivers earn $27 per active hour on average in Santa Clara County. Although we have concerns about the unintended consequences
I'm
of
sorry,
price
we're
controls.
just speaking on the December 15th agenda. I should have told you much sooner.
Oh, so should I hold off on this till the next?
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay.
We also see
Okay.
Marcia, who's from Hawaiian Poke Bowl. I'm guessing she's also wanting to speak on that item.
Okay.
It will be coming up shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very sorry, Chad. Marcia, did you want to speak on this December 15th agenda or rather on the item relating to the restaurants?
I am not sure. I thought I was speaking on recommendation number 3 to cap the third-party delivery services.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Stay
all
tuned.
right, I will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All this raises an issue I'd love to be able to talk with colleagues offline about, which is I think our agendas are confusing on the Rules Committee, and I'm hoping that maybe in the new year with the city clerk, we can talk about a more simplified approach on the agenda that would simply distinguish between consent items and items that require discussion, because I think it's difficult for folks to follow. Okay, so on this agenda.
So I'd like to move the agenda for December 15th, 2020, deferring item 2.10 and splitting item 2.15 and making the health trust a standalone item.
Is there a second?
So before I hear the deafening silence, I was also told that I had to make one hell of a motion to convince you guys to go with 1:30. And I believe and I have faith in the council that we can do this. We can start at 1:30 and finish at a reasonable time, like 9 o'clock. I have the utmost faith that we can do it. And I believe in the council and I believe in you, Mayor, to be able to lead that meeting and have us end at a reasonable hour. So that's my case.
No,
So that's all I got.
Would you
That's
be
the
open
best
to
I can do.
amendment to your motion, which hasn't been seconded yet, Vice Mayor? Which is, would you be open to a friendly amendment to start at 11?
Yes.
Thank you.
Then I will second that.
Okay, fabulous. We got a lot of folks who will be weary, I'm sure, if not.
I'm just trying to make my last meeting stretch out as much as possible so I can hang out with you all.
We love your company, Johnny, but it's not the.
We don't get to go out take you out for a drink afterwards, Johnny.
That's too bad. I hope that we can postpone that till next year sometime.
Yes, we will, as soon as we're lawfully entitled. Okay, any other comments on the motion?
This is the city clerk. I just want to confirm that's also a 9 a.m. start time for closed session.
Yes.
Okay. So 9 a.m. closed session, 11 a.m. open session.
All right.
Oh,
Wait,
Uh,
did you also want to split that health trust item into?
Yeah, he did.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part.
All right, Tony, let's vote.
Arenas? Davis?
Aye.
Camus?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Licardo?
Aye.
I'm going to go back to Arenas. She was here earlier. I'm seeing it looks like she's dropped off.
Okay. I'm hoping she'll be back with us shortly. Meeting schedule D1. This is on proposed modifications for spending plan for Measure E. I don't know what modifications would require a public hearing. I thought we stayed within the allocation that was described. Do you have any idea why we need a hearing in this case, or Jackie? Hi, Jackie.
Yes, hi, this is Jackie Morales-Ferran, the Director of Housing. So when we came forward with Measure E, there were some proposals on could we move money to rental assistance? And what the council directed us to do was to just prep for the potential to move money, all depending upon what happens to the moratoria and the federal government, state government. And so in order for us to meet all the deadlines, we need to set hearings now.
Yeah.
Just in case. So that's what we're trying to respond to.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jackie. Any, is there a motion?
I will
Motion to
move
approve.
approval.
Sorry.
I think I was the one who
Second.
asked for this in the first place.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, Blair
Same
Bateman.
type of thing.
Hi, thank you. To speak to the first woman today, her comments, maybe they would be more appropriate at open forum time. Just a suggestion where she could work for such an issue she was talking about today. To speak to the Beautify San Jose study session last week, and to speak on homeless issues and housing issues for low-income people, I hope the efforts of the new fireworks ordinance and its possible eventual use of surveillance tech and ticketing people does not move into the homelessness and trash issues or into other city government projects at this time. Dumpster days can be a way for all parts of a neighborhood and community to connect and to get to know each other better. In this age of COVID-19, can a city app be created for better communication between local neighborhood folks with homes and their neighbors who may be houseless? I think that's about all I wanted to say. I could have said this for the dumpster day item you have. I'm sorry I didn't. I'm impressed with this item a lot, and you seem to talk about it in item 3.1 yesterday in your COVID prep talk for everyone. And it was really nice to hear that as a city government, you can take steps to work towards housing forgiveness issues that people need. And you can certainly direct people to good services and funding help. And thank you incredibly for saying those words yesterday and being able to work that way. And I guess that this work on this item will be working towards those efforts and And I'll be speaking more on this item today, and just just how we can all think together about how to help each other is really important at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to the committee. Let's vote.
Arenas, Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye. All right, we're now on to I know there's an early consideration. Oh gosh, I just lost the page. Sorry, guys. I know it was a memorandum from Councilmember Dieppe relating to microloans. Is that right?
I think we have G1 consent
Yeah, the
first.
consent
Oh,
calendar
there's
first.
the consent. Thank you. Sorry, just lost it.
Motion to approve consent calendar.
Second.
All right, Mr. Beekman, do you want to speak on the consent calendar specifically?
Yeah, I would. All right, there's the dumpster day item, and I accidentally I spoke a bit too soon. Sorry about that, but things can be applicable in different ways, and you guys are always nice about that. Thank you. For item G.1, or for G1A, the free sock and gloves program in the early winter of item G1A is a good idea. Thank you. Santa Clara County is doing the same thing for women's menstrual and feminine products at this time. These are the ideas of Councilperson Perales in his first years on the council. And for what should be basically our regular decent practices. Thank you for this work on this item. Item G1B is dumpster days, and what I tried to say in the last item, I hope we can find new ways to connect people for dumpster days, because it actually is a kind of a good service and project that people can get into. And I thought of the city app idea at the Beautify SJ meeting, that a way that just people with homes and without homes can have a way to talk to each other and connect. And I think that's kind of an interesting idea. And I know Robert Aguirre, he's been around city council meetings recently. He's really trying to get a homeless board going, or where homeless people can be on committees and have a real voice in the process. And he talks about that with Santa Clara County and their recent housing task force group. And it's important ideas we've been talking about for quite a few years now. And I hope it's really time to bring those ideas to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, back to the committee. Let's vote.
Arenas, Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is the monthly report of our city auditor. Joe.
So good afternoon, Joe Roy, City Auditor. I'm here with our monthly report of activities for November. We issued 2 small projects in November: the City Association of Santa Clara County Expenditure Review, which we do every couple of years, a small project we do for them. Presented this to the Vice Mayor and the rest of the association's executive board in early November. Team San Jose, which of course went to council yesterday. Another number of projects underway. The balance of our work plan is in the attachment. Happy to answer any questions. I ask you to accept the report.
Okay, is there any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have one question, Mayor.
Yeah, Councilor Davis.
Joe, I see that the annual services report is in process and slated for this month. Do you know about when we will be getting that?
Our hope is to publish on the 18th, so the end of next week. That's our current schedule.
Okay. Well, I know you normally do a paper version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a big
So
one.
we'll have a paper version that we'll have, well, I don't know how often you all make it into the office, but we'll have a paper version in your box, and we can send a soft copy, make sure we send a soft copy to you all as well.
So you'll email us when the paper version's ready for pickup?
Sure, we can do that.
That would be great. Thank you. We only go in once. Well, my team only goes in once a week. Somebody goes in.
Okay, yeah, so that's the plan, is on the 18th, we'll put one in your box, but I'll make sure that Lupe in my office sends a message.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Beekman, did you want to speak on this specific item? See auditor's report?
Yeah, I did. I do. You usually have, many issues that you work on with the auditor's report, and one of them is the current state of your technology practices to follow up on 2016 ideas of your technology practices, commitments basically. And I wanted to use this time to say I was really impressed with your privacy policy ideas last night, and that you've really developed them, and you're coming along to, I don't know, I know you guys can talk about these things, but you always keep it really hidden and secretive, and you don't bring it out and talk about it more openly with the public. And I wish you could. And you made those efforts yesterday, and it was a really good step. And you want to talk about surveillance, the use of technology in terms of its civil protections and civil rights ideas, which was interesting. And because normally you want to talk about it in terms of exigent circumstances and an emergency circumstances, in terms of basically what you can get away with and what the police can get away with. And now you want to maybe be talking in terms of what are its civil rights and civil protection ideas of technology. So thank you for that change. And like what I tried to say last night, and what the 2016 audits that you do in this every month is usually about ideas that have some sort of relationship to the 2007 Sunshine Ordinance. That was really important to everyone in San Jose, and that has been a real model for the work that we're doing now, basically. And I'm sorry I don't talk about the Sunshine Ordinance things enough. I think it would be real inspiring as a community effort. We can know what good community practices are with that. And I hope you can study and talk about that stuff more in the future about the Sunshine Ordinance. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, returning to the committee, let's vote.
Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye. Okay, on to item 3, which is the item that I had mistakenly advanced. This is Councilmember Diep's proposal for wage advances and microloans. Councilmember Diep, are you with us?
I am, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Hello. So this is just an idea. I from time to time like to do some extracurricular reading, and I came across this idea, this concept in an article in the Harvard Business Review, and the concept kind of fascinated me. I know I'm kind of plugging 2 companies by name, but I've never heard of these companies before last week or so when I read them. I don't own any stock in them. I don't know anybody who works there, but I think the concept that they're working with is fascinating, and it's 2 that I identified in taken from the article. Is one that essentially advances employees' paycheck that they've already earned sooner than they need it. So for $5, if in between pay periods, if you have a flat tire or a $400 thing that you need, you can take out $400 that you've already owned from your own salary sooner than the next pay period for $5. And they do that. They bear the cost. It's just the city kind of opening up payroll or whatever technical needs to be done. And then there's another company in there that actually does microloans. So they don't use your credit score. They kind of look at how long you've worked there at a company and what loan amount you're asking for, and they just deduct it from your paycheck in micro repayments. And so that's kind of the notion. I think in this year of COVID, financial times are difficult. I know the city of San Jose, we've been blessed to protect our employees' work, but for 2 income households, that may not be the case. So I just thought that's it. These kind of things are an interesting benefit because we at the city, often often find it hard to retain staff because we can't pay like they do in the private sector. We don't have food all over the place and ping pong tables at work. So this is, I think, one fringe benefit or way of providing financial security to some of our employees that would help them alleviate any financial concerns they might have, and hopefully work happier and stay longer with the city. And so I just offered that up, and I hope, I'm not plugging these two companies specifically, but if there are others out there, we should at least take a look. And I think the cost is minimal from what I understand, and they're worth, looking into and hearing their sales pitch. So I'll end there and take any questions anybody might have.
Thank you, Councilor Diep. I'm sorry I had to step out for a moment. So I know that there was a response from the city manager's office. Lee?
Yes, there is. The administration does recommend yellow lighting this, so we bring it forward during the roadmap or priority setting process. And Julia Cooper and Jennifer Shembry are here to answer any questions about the specifics of the form.
Okay. I'm going to the public now to see if anyone would like to comment on this item number 3 regarding offering wage advances and microloans to city employees. I see no hands at this time, so we'll come back to the panel. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. I think this is an intriguing idea, and I'm sensitive to the fact that it's been asked to go to priority setting, but I guess I have a question even before that. Councilmember Diep, did any have employees come to you and offered that they may need this service? Do we have any indication that any of our employees would need this, or what the uptake would be?
Yeah, so I don't have any specific instance. I know that just generically, the average American, there's that statistic that the average American doesn't have enough saved up for a $400 inconvenience, right? And right, this is not based on my staff or anybody I've talked to saying that I wish, we had these sort of things. I do often get things like, oh, I wish I were paid more. But other than that, I'm just looking at good ideas and trying to bring them to San Jose in my very Lund Deep way. I'm not trying to address a specific problem.
Okay. So Jennifer, I guess I have a question about, are employees, city employees surveyed regularly? I know we have our annual city services where we actually survey our residents. Do we survey our employees regularly?
Because most of our, Jennifer Shembry, Director of Employee Relations and Human Resources, because most of our employees are represented by bargaining units, we typically don't survey that type of information directly because it's the bargaining unit's responsibility to do that as their exclusive representative. We did, though, recently during COVID, do a survey about a variety of different things. And some of the questions were very general, like what could we do to better support you and all of that. And we're currently going through those survey results. I don't have the details of those, but we did do something kind of similar to that. But on specific benefit type issues, we leave that up to the unions to survey the employees.
Okay. I guess I would rather hear from the employees or the bargaining units about this need before I even wanted to send it just personally to priority setting. I don't want staff to use time if this isn't a demonstrated need by at least a portion of our employees. So not knowing what the need is, I'm not really, I'm not interested in advancing this idea. I don't think it's a bad idea if we survey our employees about, workplace satisfaction, about asking them. I guess I don't necessarily understand the ins and outs of the relationship of the bargaining units. If there's something that we would like to do organization-wide, and I think we will probably be surveying everyone organization-wide about transportation as we want to implement a transportation demand management. So just an idea to throw that in there. I would ask the question, maybe not as specifically about this kind of service, but about general information about budgeting and financial information, and then maybe something also along these lines. So that's just an idea to throw out to you, Jennifer.
Okay. Can I ask, Lee, if this goes off into priority setting, I mean, staff doesn't spend time on it until council actually prioritizes. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, that is fair to say. And I think, this year it'll really be part of the roadmap process. And
Right.
So that roadmap would be in there, and then other things proposed to be in a backlog or things that had been proposed. So there may be a certain level of engagement around something like this. or opportunity for the workforce to say, hey, we like that idea.
Right.
But we wouldn't spend any work on it going into priority setting.
Could I then suggest, and I appreciate your concerns, Councilman Davis, about workload, because Lord knows our staff are doing plenty already. But I don't think there's any harm in allowing the idea to be out there for folks to be able to seize if they think it's important, and then to advocate for it through the priority setting process. I think it's an interesting idea, as long as it's money that they really have already earned within that pay period, which I know isn't going to be a lot of money, but for someone who does need that emergency repair so they can get to work, I can understand why that could be important.
Good point. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, Mayor. I was thinking along the same lines. And I was trying to think, have we ever rejected an idea or suggestion going to priority setting? My feeling was almost automatic if something wasn't a green light, that we at least allow it to move forward. So I was kind of racking my brain to think that if we've ever not allowed something to move forward. I'm sure there might be one or two times, but the standard practice is to at least allow these ideas and suggestions to go into the process. So I'm supportive of moving it forward, to at least go to priority setting. I'll make the motion to do that.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any other comment? All right, let's vote then.
Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Item 4 is interdepartment transfer of District 4 council funds to other departments. Councilor Diep?
Yes. Was just out of curiosity, is there any public comment before I begin?
Let me ask, is there any public comment on item number 4, interdepartment transfer of District 4 council funds to other departments? I'm not seeing anyone leap to their digital feed.
So this is me coming to the end of my tenure on the council, and I've had some savings. Every one of us has an annual allotment of budget, and I've worked diligently to not use all of it. And I personally feel that's something I am proud of. It's something that I feel is a cost savings to the residents of the city. And I've been able to do it because I've stayed later than most, even you, Mayor, on some nights. Done a lot of my own reading, a lot of my own writing. Ran a relatively small staff, but focused on things and picked up a lot of the slack myself. I'm not saying that's the way that everybody should operate, but that cost saving represents time and effort that I put into my time at City Hall, and I did so diligently and lovingly. And now that I have that, not having spent it on, say, a chief of staff for 4 years, I would like to see it go towards some of the underfunded projects across the city that I've been in touch with department heads about, and as kind of my pushing to advance these projects, because I know the needs across our city are great, and not all projects that are important are sexy and have a huge number of public commenters lining up to advocate for them. And I've identified a few things that I've kind of spoke on and advocated for during my time here. And this is kind of my hope to kind of leave this on, as being able to know that I helped advance the ball on some of the things I care about. I want to be cognizant and flag an issue that I know Councilmember-elect Cohen has raised some concerns, and he wrote an email to me, and I think some of you were CC'd on it. I did not respond because of Brown Act issues. I want to address that. He didn't send it to the clerk, so I just want to very quickly read 3 paragraphs into the record from Councilmember-elect Cohen. Councilmember Diep, when we met last month and you offered a gracious and smooth transition in District 4 leadership, I was impressed with your integrity and thought that our transition could become the gold standard to which we would all aspire, or to which all would aspire. That was short-lived. The memorandum for December 9th rule committee meeting asking to transfer money allocated for District 4 residents back to the general fund reads like a page right out of Donald Trump's post-election obstruction playbook. That you think this is a good thing, that you fail to invest your budget year after year for the benefit of District 4 residents is beyond reason. Having served as a school district trustee for 14 years, I know how to maintain strong fiscal stewardship of tight budgets for the benefit of those I represent. For 20 months, I knocked on doors and listened to community members as they shared their disappointment that more wasn't being done to calm traffic or clean up blight, and how disheartened they were when their calls to your office went unanswered. Decisions to sweep district allocated funds are for the budget development cycle. This council had those discussions in June as they adopted this year's budget and chose not to take that action. Your actions are, as you are leaving office, are just petty, a transparent attempt to play politics as I strive to build a strong foundation of service to the community. I'm asking that you cease and desist from this behavior and withdraw your request to transfer District 4 budget to the general fund, Councilmember-elect David Cohen. Now, I want to just address that because I want to be very clear. I am not trying to cripple my successor on my way out. In fact, part of my savings, I've amassed quite a bit, and I'm leaving Councilmember-elect Cohen with at least $1 million to spend. And we all know that every year, council offices get about $730,000. I may be corrected on that, but memory serves, it's $730,000 per year, per fiscal year. And with addition to my rollover last year, I'm leaving him half of that, and I'm spending half of it. And part of that here is salary for the last 6 months and this interdistrict transfer, trying to advance some projects that I care about. So I'm certainly not trying to hurt him or the district. I also want to be very clear. I've spent a lot of time at City Hall doing a lot of the work on behalf of the district. And I want to be sure, I don't expect to get praise for making that effort. I know other council members might do so too, but they have jobs and spouses and children and other family obligations that I don't have. And so I have the luxury of the time. But one thing I will push back on is the misperception that somehow I have not done my job or not done right by my residents by not spending this, because let's be very clear, this is an office budget that we're talking about. It is the budget from which we draw our salaries, from which we pay our staff, and from which we use to buy ink, toner, office furniture, t-shirts with our name on it, grocery bags with our name on it, and postage, whatever else to run the office. Every district has funds in parks, they have funds in DOT, across the different departments to address the concerns of our residents, to do park improvements, road improvements, so on and so forth. And I have spent those dollars accordingly. Throughout my time here, I have used my budgets to reinvest in the community, occasionally getting an extra crosswalk or funding, advanced funding master plans, for instance, in Alviso, which is a $15 million park plan, topping that off or advancing close to that. And we don't see it because there's no shiny obelisk or physical thing that I can point to that says I paid for that yet. But I have laid the groundwork and I have invested in our community, in my district. But to the extent that I did not pay $100,000 a year for a chief of staff, I'm spending that now in other ways throughout the city to benefit all residents. And I hope that the council can see that. I hope my colleagues respect that. And I hope that Councilmember-elect Cohen understands where I'm coming from. I think your letter or his letter, speaks more to his character and more about him than it does about me. And I hope that, in the future, if he were to just ask a few questions and get some facts, he would be less upset and less confrontational. But anyways, I think it's to the benefit of the residents to have somebody who explores things and understands things before they speak and weigh in. But that's me, and I'll end it there. And I hope that my colleagues will support me in this.
I'll make a motion to approve this going to City Council. If you don't mind, I'm sorry, Mayor, I jumped in. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I'll throw my hand up if you like.
There's nobody in the public who want to speak, so.
Oh, okay, great. Look, everybody, when they leave office, the next the next council member gets a half of what's remaining in the budget. Not a lot of people know, but our budget cycle is from July 1st to June 30th every year. And so when a council member leaves they leave on December 30th, 31st, so that the half of the year's budget is typically split in half with what's remaining in the budget. When I came into office, Nancy Pyle actually had about $60,000 that was left over. She actually got to spend the $30,000 any way she wanted, and she gave me a list of things that I executed on even without going to council. It didn't matter. I mean, we whatever she told me to fund with the $30,000 that was her right to spend, I did so. And I think that this is only what Councilmember Jip is asking to do, spend the money that he's entitled to spend in his tenure, and that he has not done so. So I appreciate his efforts to do that, and that's why I made the motion to bring this to council.
Okay. I'm sorry, was there a second motion? I'll second the motion. All right, other comments? Councilor Davis?
If the allocations were specifically for the benefit of the District 4 residents, I would feel more comfortable with this. The fact that they're citywide and they're being done at the end of your tenure, Councilmember Dipp, is what gives me pause. I appreciate that the way that you see it is that you've saved this money over time by not hiring staff, but another way to look at that is that that's money that was allocated specifically for District 4 and their residents, and you didn't spend it in District 4. So I have overage every year because I have a pretty lean staff, but not nearly to the level that you do. But when I have extra money, I use it in my district. So I will help with a special parks project, for example. If residents come to me and they want to build something special that's not in the budget, I'll match their funds. Or we'll put an extra lighted crosswalk in a place where it's lower on the list for DOT, but it's very important to those residents in that place for traffic calming. Another place that I've supported is our school groups and the arts as well. So, and Councilmember Pierluigi Oliverio before me did that. And so I really feel like that those funds should be used specifically for the benefit of District 4. And I appreciate that the citywide, all the programs that you've asked for here, all the allocations that you've asked for are very worthy allocations, and they will benefit my district and every other district because they are citywide. But I'm not sure that's the appropriate use of those funds if your residents didn't say that those are their priorities for those dollars.
Thank you, Councilmember Davis. I appreciate that point of review. I think I go back to the point that I was saying earlier. I think it is, and we can agree to disagree, but I would say I think it is a mistake to restrict the office budget. Again, in my view, the office budget is for operational costs, printer, paper, office furniture, T-shirts and grocery bags with our names on it and whatnot. To the extent that you are able to gift and underspend and put it back into a park within your district, that is a wonderful thing. But let's not conflate the funds and have residents believe that council members are expected to pay for city or district improvements out of our operating budget. To the extent that we don't spend it. I'm spending on citywide stuff that, the land use stuff, the historical marker stuff, that benefits my district up in Alviso. It benefits our North San Jose. It benefits the citywide stuff. It alleviates the burden on staff to push things through quicker through priority setting. So there is an impact on my district as well as citywide. So I want to be very clear, and we can disagree if we do disagree, but I do think it is a mistake to set up the expectation that residents have that we improve our district through our operating budget. It is for staff. I know that different staff, offices have different staff. Some people have the tier 1 pensions. Some people like to hire more experienced people, so on and so forth. That, to the extent that you want to pay your staff more or less, that's what we have to work with. And so I've never felt that the park improvements are coming out of my office budget. I have a District 4 Parks Fund. I have a District 4 DOT fund, like you have a District 6 one. And I have, in the course of my time, re-spent money back into the district in certain ways, in crosswalks, in parks improvements. And we can go back through my budget documents every year, at least on something. I always say draw from the District 4 office budget as well. And again, just as a single guy, as a guy who basically lives at City Hall for the last 4 years, I've been able to eke out quite a bit of savings. And I think, if more council offices were able to do it, we wouldn't, I think it would be a benefit to the city. So that's just my response to that. Again, I know that the flack or the blowback or the dissonance that the criticism that I may get is that, yes, I should have been spending on District 4 residents. But again, I don't believe that office budgets are district restricted. They're at the discretion of the council member. I could have bought, more grocery bags with my name on it, just sitting there now ready for the next council member to throw away because I didn't hand them all out. And I chose not to do that. I had my set of t-shirts, I had my set of bags, and I did not replenish them every year because I wasn't going gangbusters trying to use public dollars to brand myself and raise my name ID. I was trying to do what the policy and do the work. And that's how I spent it. And I'm spending my half of it, my part of it. And I hope that addresses your concern.
Okay, anything more, Councilmember Davis? Okay, Vice Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Depp. First of all, I want to say I respect your right to allocate your office funds the way you feel are most appropriate. I don't have any issues about how you manage your office or how you manage your money. Like I said, you have that right, and you had a strategy and a vision, and you executed on that vision. And part of that vision was to accumulate a large balance. And if this proposal had gone through, say, our budget process, I would have been a lot more receptive. But regardless of what your intent is, and I know you, and I know that you had positive intent, but the timing and the optics of this proposal at this time, you have a right to do it, but it's not the right time. The other issue that I have is, and Councilmember Davis brought this up, one of the first things that came to my mind when I saw your proposal was these dollars should really go and be dedicated to District 4 and District 4 residents or District 4 initiatives, as opposed to going into the general fund. And I heard your argument, and I understand you don't agree with that premise, but the expectation and the understanding, it's not in writing, but it's practice that we use our funds to directly benefit our council districts in some form or fashion, or we go through the budget process and we issue BDs, and we put in proposals and recommendations on advancing some of our initiatives forward, particularly if they're citywide initiatives. And that's the process that we should go through to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with your proposal. I really want to support it because I want to support you and I want to support your right to do it. But it's one of those situations where regardless of who the council member is who had this proposal, I would be hard pressed to support it, even though, again, I recognize your right to propose it. So I can't support the motion, but I understand that you had the best intentions and positive intent in terms of what you did in bringing this forward.
So I appreciate that. I'm not sure how that goes with a split vote, but if we could get it to the full council and let me amend it at least to include some District 4 items or majority. I mean, I talked to department heads and I had a deadline last week to get this to Rules Committee. Not all department heads got back to me, but I know there are, I mean, I want to be very clear. There's certain things I care passionately about. For instance, the land use thing, which I've hammered throughout my time here, and aligning the general plan zoning disparity will help my district, but also citywide. It's something we're supposed to do anyway, and I would like to see that supported. The Vietnamese language thing is a particular interest and something that I am very vested in. But to your point, if it pleases the committee more to see some of the money or a good portion of it redirected specifically within District 4 boundaries rather than to citywide projects that I think are meritorious of support, and but for my funding them through this action will probably take another 10, 20 years to get to after we fund equity and we fund all the other things that we're trying to do that are sexier and have people lining up to fight for. If that's the committee's preference, then fine. But I have one council meeting left, and if it fails, then let it fail at the full council. But I would like an opportunity to amend the memo then.
Okay. Was that direct?
Go ahead.
Okay. I can live with that. I can live with at least advancing it to council. So I'm not saying that eventually I will support it. It depends on, obviously what it looks like when you revise it. But I am agreeable to at least moving it forward and seeing what you come back with.
Okay. If I could just also offer observation, forgive me if this may have been said earlier. I had to step away for a moment, but Councilor Diep, I think, has done the right thing by reaching out to the clerk, understanding what ongoing obligations still need to be paid for the people on his team, meaning sick leave and vacation, and making sure all that got paid first. Making sure, I think, as the clerk assured, that half of the rollover, which is more than $500,000, I believe, was in fact allocated to his successor's budget. So his successor is actually going to come in with a budget actually about twice the size of what Councilmember Mahan will have when he comes in January. No slight against Councilmember Camus, but that's the outcome of different strategies around budgeting. And so I wouldn't support this if I thought for a moment that Councilmember Cohen would be undermined in some way. Or that this would, I mean, we've certainly seen that in years past, and that's why we changed the policy so that we would stop seeing council members coming in and finding out that, that the person before him just used up all the money or didn't think about planning for vacation time that they'd have to pay out. And all of a sudden, their residents are left high and dry because they can't hire staff. I think we fixed that problem. And not only did we fix it, but Councilmember Diep has conferred an extraordinary amount of benefits, I think more than any council member ever has, to a successor with more than $500,000 in addition to his base budget. So again, I appreciate that there are different approaches and strategies here. I look forward to seeing what amendments Councilmember Diep might bring. I think we can all get to a reasonable outcome here, but I would like to honor what I think has been a diligent effort on Councilmember Diep's part to see how the money can best be used to serve the people of the city. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Diep. I will vote for this motion with the understanding that you will be bringing amendments that are more District 4 focused, if not for it sounds like there are still items on this list, which they're all worthy items and worthy of funding, but I would hope to see at least half of this appropriation go to District 4 specific.
That was very funny.
That's another strategy, actually.
Feel free
I
to
don't want votes.
my residents would love that, I'm sure. No, I think it's important. I would like to see, at least half of that amount go to your specific district, but I will vote for the motion with the understanding that you are going to bring some changes, and like Vice Mayor, I will not commit to voting for it once it gets to the full council, depending on what those amendments look like. Thank you.
Okay. All right, this is the chance for log rolling. All right, let's vote on the motion.
Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Liccardo.
Aye. All right, thank you. We'll now return to our previously scheduled committee meeting. Webpage not available. I've got a little problem here with internet. So I'm not sure what we got left before we adjourn.
You're on G5.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, there we go. Fee cap on food delivery services. I guess this one's important. I think we all know Councilmember Diep brought this idea forward previously. We evaluated it. I know there was a lot of community outreach. At the time, I think we were kind of emerging from what was one stay home mandate, and we were all kind of hoping that restaurants would recover with the recovery of our health status. We're now in the middle of another one, of course, and it looks like it's going to be a long, cold winter. So we've reinvigorated this proposal. Appreciate Councilmember Diep's work. We've actually done some outreach also to the food delivery app companies, at least 2 of them, and we've come up with something we think will be reasonably acceptable and hopefully also protect our small businesses. I see there are 2 people. I'm sorry, Councilor Diep, did you want to speak before this goes to the public?
We can go to the public.
Okay, we'll go to the public first and then we'll come back. Nate LeBlanc, come on.
Thank you, Mayor. May I make a comment on the agenda for rules issue briefly, please?
Sure.
I think part of the confusion for the committee meetings and city council is when you watch the committee or participate with the committee on Zoom, there's no visual representation of what item we're on.
Yeah.
There are chyrons on the YouTube version if you're just monitoring the meeting, but if you intend to speak, you need to be on the Zoom, and there's no way to tell if you're multitasking, as most of us often are when we're monitoring these things.
Yeah, I'll try to do a better job of identifying it for each item.
A whiteboard with 3.1 or something. I don't know. You guys can figure it out. I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Thank you for hearing me on this issue. I'm Nate LeBlanc, Business Development Manager with the San Jose Downtown Association, representing over 1,800 small businesses and probably a little less than 200 restaurants as the number I'm used to using, but we all know it's been a long year. I believe that the time has come for this fee cap issue. I appreciate the previous efforts and the county efforts to try to get this in place for San Jose and Santa Clara County small businesses. This proposal was recommended by the many members of the Small Business Task Force that D3 put together, and it's something that can directly benefit restaurants who've been forced to go back to takeout and delivery options only under a health order. We have no idea when we're going to come out of that. So we just want to say that as a downtown association and as a business association, we don't often weigh in on matters of capping enterprise profit margins, but we feel that this is very important and that our small business members need this to survive the winter, and that we fully support a temporary order to bring things into the 15 to 18% range. And we hope that this can advance to city council and eventually become law as quickly as humanly possible to help our restaurants small businesses make it through this extremely difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Jenica? Welcome, Jenica.
I unmuted myself. Hi, good afternoon. So first of all, I'm very excited that this is back to the forefront. I want to start with something positive. I'm obviously grateful. I'm sorry. I own Pizza Boccolupo at St. Peter's Square Market, and I've owned it for about 9 years. A little bit of background information. I'm very grateful that delivery companies exist. So don't get us all wrong on that, because without them, especially since Monday, we would have no business at all, which actually today, unfortunately, came true a little bit. And I applaud, the windfall that all these delivery companies have experienced during the pandemic. But at the same time, but it cannot happen at the expense of, a whole other economic and vital segment of society, meaning small businesses, mom and pop shops, as you want to call them. And our particular situation is very dire as well, because not only has our revenue significantly dropped, but we're also losing, 25-30% right off the bat. And that's just not sustainable. And there's a lot of desperation. It's going to be very difficult to survive the fact that the Alfresco program has now also ceased, at least for a month. And I'm hoping that you can come up with like the 15% cap temporarily, because that's in all fairness. And so I appreciate that this can be discussed, and I'm hoping it can be approved on and implemented as soon as possible, and not like the January 12th timeline I've heard on the county levels. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Please hang in there, Janica. Chad Horrell. Welcome, Chad.
I'll try this one more time. Hello, my name is Chad Horrell, and I'm here to represent DoorDash. Thank you to the mayor, vice mayor, and the San Jose City Council for allowing us the opportunity to testify today. We understand the challenging time that restaurants are having during the ongoing pandemic. Because of this, we have made substantial investments into restaurants and our Dashers to ensure that we all survive. DoorDash has committed millions of dollars through our Main Street Strong initiative, which includes commission relief when the pandemic first hit, deep discounts on our storefront platform, which allows restaurants to connect with customers online. And right here in San Jose, we have provided $150,000 for restaurants through winterization grants. Restaurants on the DoorDash platform were 6 times more likely to stay in business during the pandemic. While some have lost their jobs during the pandemic, DoorDash has provided a flexible, meaningful earning opportunity for these workers on our platform. Across all our operations, since the first stay-at-home orders went into effect in mid-March through September, 1.9 million new Dashers joined the platform. Dashers overall earned more than $3.5 billion during the first 6.5 months of the pandemic, with approximately 60% or $2.1 billion of that total being earned by Dashers who live in zip codes with above average Black and or Latinx representation. In Santa Clara County, in the same time period, Dashers earned over $101 million, including tips, thanks to the DoorDash platform. We're also happy to report that Dashers earn over $27 per active hour on average in Santa Clara County. Wanted to highlight a couple Dasher stories for the council. There are countless San Jose residents who utilize the DoorDash platform. We regularly reach out to our Dashers and invite them to share their stories. There's Olga, a single mom and constituent of Councilmember Camus's district, who enjoys the flexibility of DoorDash and the time it affords her with her family. There's also Melinda, the 74-year-old resident of Vice Mayor Jones' district, who appreciates being able to dash to help pay bills and buy food. And there's Linda, a D9 resident and mother of a high school senior who is dashing to save up for her daughter's college tuition. We have to consider these constituents when we consider enacting policy that would negatively impact their ability to earn income. Although we have concerns about the unintended consequences of price controls like that which has been proposed, we want to thank Mayor Liccardo and his staff for working with third-party delivery platforms to craft a recommendation that provides a solid foundation for providing restaurants relief. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak before the council, and we look forward to working with the entire council and mayor as this ordinance moves forward.
Thank you, Chad. I should modify what I said earlier. Joel Develcourt, who's been the one working on this on our team, has had conversations with DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. Appreciate everyone rolling up their sleeves to try to figure out how we can solve this problem and help protect our small businesses. Councilor Davis?
Thank you. I just want to give Councilmember Diep kudos. I know I feel like I've been hard on you today on a couple of items, but I supported you the first time around on the proposed fee cap, and I am happy to make the motion to advance this memo today.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. And the reason why I didn't second the motion is I had some questions and concerns. I know this is something that's come to us before, and we try to pursue a strategy of having the different services work with the restaurants, and obviously that didn't create a solution or resolution that we were looking for. But I wanted to ask Chad or a representative from DoorDash to answer a couple of questions I have.
Chad, are you still with us? I think,
yes, I'm here. Yep.
There we go. Welcome.
So Chad, if we have a hard cap, what is the unintended consequences or even the intended consequences for a hard cap in terms of the impact on the restaurants, impact on customers, and the impact on the platforms that provide the service?
Yeah, I think it's important to think of this exactly how you laid it out, that, it's not just an impact on one side or another. We do have restaurants to be thinking about. We've got the customers and the dashers. There's kind of a three-legged stool here with this. So I think, the unintended consequences are, number one, we don't want to hurt restaurant volume, but, the volume of activity, orders, that are being made by restaurants. Basically, obviously that would hurt, the restaurants, their ability to earn money. It definitely hurts the dashers' ability to earn money because you have fewer orders. But then also, with all of this, you also want to make sure that, the service is still there at a level that can serve the customers. And, any type of any type of an issue with the overall service, is going to have a negative impact on the service that, and the ability for each of the three legs of that stool to stand.
So if you have a cap on what kind of the amount of fees that you can charge to a restaurant, would DoorDash absorb the difference between what you would normally charge and what you'd be required to charge with the cap, or what would happen to that delta?
Yeah, so we would basically pass it along to the customers. I think going back to March when the pandemic first hit, DoorDash, our competitors as well in the marketplace, absorbed a lot of the costs. We've also given a lot back through a lot of different programs to the restaurants as well as to our dashers as well. But we've kind of gotten to a point now, fast forward to December, where we're not able to absorb the costs the way we maybe were back in March. And what does that look like? It's basically additional consumer fees in a lot of localities.
Is that what you're seeing in the other cities that implemented a cap?
Yes, this would not. I mean, obviously, there have been a lot of cities where we've actually implemented a consumer fee to help offset the losses produced by the cap. Yes.
Okay. You touched on it briefly, but from what you've observed in other cities who've gone down this road, can you give us the magnitude of the impact of those customer fees in terms of demand?
Yeah, so specific to the customer fees, I will say that there is we do have data that has shown that a $1 customer fee reduces volume by 7%. A $2 customer fee obviously reduces volume by 7%. So obviously, in both instances, that's going to impact the restaurants, consumers, but also the dashers as well.
Okay. So the bottom line is that a cap could have a negative impact on a restaurant's business by reducing the demand because of the higher fees.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have on that one. Is Jenica, is she available?
Jenica, are you with us?
I could direct this to Jenica or Nate.
Nate, are you there? And Vice Mayor, while we're waiting for them to join, if I could just point out that restaurants do have the ability to pay a higher fee through agreement. That's why this is not a hard cap. If you look at paragraph 3 in the recommendation.
I saw that.
I'm on the line, Mayor, though I do not currently run a restaurant. I'm a representative of the business community and the San Jose Downtown Association, so we all know where I'm coming from.
Okay. Hey, Nate, thank you for that clarification. I've never run a restaurant. I did work in a fast food restaurant when I was in high school. That was probably the closest I've been involved with running a restaurant. But in terms of the cost for a restaurant, obviously you have probably the biggest cost would be labor. But after that, what are some of the other significant costs that are involved with running a restaurant? And even before you answer that question, I'll kind of tell you my thought process. I'm trying to understand how the delivery fees fit into the big scheme of operating the financial operation of a restaurant.
Sure.
That's
I don't
wanna
think
keep that
you need an itemized list of things like insurance and PPE and things of that nature. So let me characterize it in this way. My understanding is the average profit margin on a restaurant order is at about 8% on a normal time. So if you have a 30% fee on every order, it's not profitable for the business to fill the order anyway. And that pre-COVID, a lot of restaurants thought of this as more of a marketing expense, that being on the apps was a good way to spread the name about their restaurant so that people would visit in person where the profit margin was higher, right? And now with the people's inability to come and not experience the hospitality of the restaurant, their unique service, their decor, their outdoor dining setup, which is unique to them. In many ways, the restaurants are just a name on a screen that I'm sure we've all endlessly scrolled through on a Saturday night trying to decide where to order from, so that if you set the fee at a lower mark, they can try to make up that profitability through volume. Sorry if that was a little bit jumbled. It's been a while.
No, I understood. Thank you. So what about other inputs, say rent or produce? Has there been a discussion or a desire to try to figure out how we can cap other inputs to run a restaurant? Or is it the fact that this is a very prominent addition or fee that goes on to every transaction? It really makes it stand out.
I can say this. The Downtown Association represents both property owners and tenants in this case, so we don't get involved in landlord-tenant disputes. We have an inherent conflict of interest there. As a person, if I can take my SJDA hat on, I admire any landlord that can lessen the rent impact during a pandemic. If someone has an inability to create revenue, it would be nice to see people be lenient on rent, but that's not something we're going to wade into or certainly bring forward in a memo. I think this particular issue, we're getting requests from many small business owners like Yannicka DeVries of Pizza Bocalupo. I'm sure you guys have all probably been there. It's one of the best restaurants in downtown. Their pizza is amazing, and they've been a cornerstone of the San Pedro Square Market since it opened. And so when someone like Yannicka, who's a business in good standing in this community, who's just trying to survive, comes to us with a very specific issue that we can drill down on, and we can do a little outreach to the app services and try to find other people. I think we lost a couple of people on the line who would have spoken at this meeting if we had taken this item up a little earlier in the agenda, to be honest with you. And I think I just want to reiterate my point that the county is taking this up as well. So I can't be the only community representative who's getting this feedback from their members. There are people asking Councilmember Diep earlier in the year to take this up. There's people at the county level asking the Board of Supervisors to take this up. So I think we're seeing a pretty steady beating of the drum that this is a specific issue that small businesses need to try to advance and try to just survive the winter. I'm not trying to be over dramatic when I use the term survive. I think in many ways, we're going to lose a significant portion of the businesses in downtown San Jose. And my members are telling me this is a way we can help them survive.
And we're all on the same page in terms of we understand the significance of this crisis and the impact it's having on our restaurants and all of our small businesses. And I'm a huge advocate of small business. I've been the whole time I've been on the council, even before I've been on the council. So I get it. I'm just trying to figure out where that sweet spot is, if there is one, where we can support our restaurants. We can have a viable business model for the platforms that provide the service, as well as trying to find a way to not price out the customers that will have a negative impact on the people that we're trying to help. So that's what I'm trying to work through. So that's the reason why I asked those questions, and I'm trying to figure out where that sweet spot is. So I'm going to support the motion to move this forward to council, but there are areas where I want to do some more analysis and see if there can be some tweaks to make this more beneficial to all parties. But we'll just have to see, like I always say, the devil's in the details. So we'll just have to see how it unfolds. So that's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Chad, if you're still with us, could you please get back on the call? I'm not sure if you there we are. Chad, you're with DoorDash, is that right?
Correct.
And what's your role at DoorDash? What position you have there?
Work in government affairs, government relations.
And how about Mariah?
Maria works in, she works with a lot of our communities on a lot of special initiatives.
Okay. So you can imagine.
We work together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because we were actually sent this proposal from your team indicating that this is what was a compromise that was worked out in Washington State that folks thought was workable. And so when we hear from one member of your team that this is something that's acceptable, and you jump on and say it's not, you can imagine it undermines my trust in you and your team. So maybe you can help me understand better. Should I trust you or not?
I would say yes. And let me just add.
Don't.
Oh.
Councilmember Camus?
So Mayor, I think it's, I hate trying to micromanage economics because it never works out in the end. I don't even know if this could be a legal way to restrict somebody from earning money. I think it possibly could be challenged in a court of law. That being said, I understand the votes are there to make this go to city council. I wasn't supportive of it in the past, and I'm still not supportive of it. I'm not convinced that this is going to actually bail people out, even the restaurants, from the current situation that they're in. I think that the only thing that can get the restaurants back into health is to allow them to open, and that's the only thing that I think is going to help them. Meanwhile, I think all these companies are providing an avenue so that they can keep their doors open and employ the few people that they still got left. And I feel that as Councilmember or Vice Mayor Chappie Jones indicated, when you limit one thing, it ends up going to the other, and you never know how these things will turn out. Now, I understand, Mayor, that your proposal is very limited and it's going to expire and all the things that I appreciate that you've worked out some kind of livable agreement, I think, with DoorDash, and I'm wanting to hear why there's differences with what they told you and what they're saying currently. But I understand that it's somebody's got to pay the bill at the end of the day. It costs X number of dollars to deliver food, and if DoorDash isn't making the money, then they're not going to deliver the food, or they're going to increase the rates so much so that maybe it'll slow down the rate of ordering food. I'd like to hear from Chad on exactly what you told him. Why is there two different stories? If he can come back on, I'd love to hear why is there a two different, or at least a perception of two different stories.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't think there is two different stories, and just let me clarify. The proposal that is before you, we can definitely live with, but let me just be clear at the same time. We obviously would prefer there not to be a cap, but the proposal that is before the council right now is something that we could definitely live with, if there is going to be a cap. Right.
And thank you. I appreciate understanding that. And I think that, in the end, clearly, I think there might be enough votes on city council to create this cap, but I want there to be an understanding here that, interfering with a market, it feels to me like the camel putting his nose underneath the tent. And this might, open the door for, a more permanent, price fixing, if you will. And I don't think that that's what we want to do in the long run. This is certainly anti-business completely. When you tell somebody that they can only charge X number of dollars, I understand when you do that for a monopoly, like say PG&E or a water company. But when there are choices between DoorDash and all these other delivery services, the competition in itself eventually works in a way to spur the prices down. And if we create artificial hurdles, different things might happen. Monopolies might come out of it. And so I want us to be extremely cautious. I'd rather let the market decide on how to allocate money to the services and or the food. And so I get that this is going to council. I can count the votes, but I may not be supporting it in council, and because I just vehemently opposed to interfere with a market. And I understand that it's upside down because of COVID. And while I think that this is a minor, it could be helpful in the short run, I don't know what's going to happen to this law in the long run, and I don't want to see it become permanent. And that's my main fear here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Campos. And I share a lot of your concerns. And that's why there is a cap date that is and remains in effect until June. And I think, as you appreciated, as you mentioned, we're in a pandemic, and there's really only one mechanism for these restaurants to be able to make a living, and that's through these delivery services. And so it is through these very extraordinary circumstances that I'm willing to put a price cap in, and it's not something I particularly relish myself. Since we've been talking, several members of the community have joined and wanted to participate, including a couple of people who actually wanted to talk before, and I think they picked the wrong item. So I want to make sure we get to all the folks. Marcia from Hawaiian Poke Bowl.
Mute now. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Can you guys listen to me? Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. DoorDash and all these, I am first and foremost for a free market as well. The idea here is if we small businesses, small restaurants were able to get together and set up a delivery system ourselves. The problem with DoorDash saying that a three-leg stool, it's not a three-leg stool because all they really do is logistic and programming. They don't buy food, they don't prepare food, they don't sell food. You see, they take the work that we do. So I don't see that as a three-leg stool. And Nate mentioned very smartly that when we are making money, restaurants, we only make 8%. So we only use these delivery services as a marketing tool to expand our brand. So, and besides, not only they came out, DoorDash started charging 15%. Now they up to 30%. And that's not all they charge. They are lying because they can't come out and say they're charging more than 30%. They're doing this now, and not only DoorDash, the others as well. When you look for your restaurant, it is all grayed out. If you don't promote the restaurant through them, then you don't even, your restaurant doesn't even get seen. And I've seen that. And if in order to promote, you have to pay $5 or $3 for each order. Us, the restaurant, is having to pay to have a restaurant promoted in these apps. You know, so not only it's not just a survival thing. If they don't do that, what's happening is they're just working with us to destroy us. They're taking the max profit just to destroy us, because pretty soon they're not even going to be there. Because if we're not there, they're also not there. So yes, they take much more than they give. And right now we are stuck. We cannot use any other service.
Marsha, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think we hear your point clearly. Thank you. I'm sorry, everyone's limited to 2 minutes. The person with the phone number ending 5140. Welcome. Sir, your device appears to be muted.
Hey, you guys keep messing around with the phone. I know you're messing around with it, Sam. Every time I hit *6, it says come on, Sam. You're better than that. Don't try those college prep school tricks with me. Anyway, who are you guys to regulate anybody? You guys can't even do a redevelopment. The redevelopment center has gone out of business that you guys have. So you're going to try to put the onus on these delivery companies? Are you kidding me? I mean, I realize that these companies charge the restaurants a lot, but how are they supposed to get their stuff delivered? They can set up their own delivery system, but to regulate these guys, I don't know. I think you guys are going in the wrong direction with that. I understand where the woman's coming from, who called before, but you know, that's something they have to negotiate with DoorDash and these other people. But I think that the service charges have to be clear to the consumer, and that I don't know if that's something the city can do or the state has to do or the county. I don't know who could regulate that or why, but you can clearly see there's a problem. And at this point, the best you guys could do, since the county and the state and you guys are coming down so hard on these restaurateurs, you should just let them open back up. You shouldn't kowtow to the county or the state. They should be able to open their doors, but you guys are making it impossible for them to make any money. The least you could do is not regulate them and let them stay open. The restaurants themselves. As for the delivery companies, hey, those are your tech buddies. You know, your tech buddies are the ones who are doing all this cheesy, tacky add-on service stuff without the consumer knowing until they have finally hit enter and all this other stuff. So talk to your tech buddies, Sam. See what they.
Okay, Maria.
Hi, this is Maria Ray from DoorDash. I just wanted to speak up and again, thank everyone for this discussion. I work very closely with Chad. He's on the government relations side, and I work in community partnerships, including managing the tens of thousands of deliveries we've made during the pandemic in partnership with the city of San Jose and your community partners. And I wanted to just convey that our goal of speaking today was in fact to reiterate our support for this proposal. As Chad mentioned at the end of his remarks, we wanted to thank the mayor and the mayor's staff, in particular Joel Devalcourt, for working with us. And I know that they worked with the other platforms as well, but it was really helpful for us to have a seat at the table in this conversation. It was something that is, unlike what's happened in other communities, and we felt like they really took to heart the positions we were sharing in the context of our broader industry. And so speaking today was important to share with the members of the committee that broader context, and also, just to share the strong commitments we've made to San Jose restaurants and Dashers. So I just want to say, as a member of the community partnerships team at DoorDash, I wanted to reaffirm our commitment to the community of San Jose, in particular the restaurant community, and ensure that that is conveyed in this setting.
Thank you, Maria. Habana Kuba, believe it's Jennifer Chevry.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Jennifer. Thank you, Mayor, for giving me the opportunity to speak to everyone. I've been with DoorDash for 7 years, and yes, they do help us out. But right now, here's a question for Chad and Mariah. I have a customer that orders one item, okay? And the driver still comes and picks that up, versus a driver that comes and picks up 10 items, okay? You're still sending a driver for the one item and paying, and we're paying the 30%. I think we need a cap, because I don't know, I don't want to get all upset right now, but Nate was right. We are very scared. Right now, we're 100% online. During the pandemic, I'm giving away $1,000, between $1,000 and $1,800 a week to DoorDash. So if you do cut it in half to 15%, I'd be saving almost $2,000 a month. And we need this. We need this to survive, especially in the sofa market where all the businesses around us are closed. And I've had this restaurant for 19 years in San Jose, and I've contemplated many times leaving, but my heart is here. But when I'm working so many hours and my staff has put in their time, it's really sad that I have to give away half of my profits to these DoorDash companies, if that makes a lot of sense to you. So yes, it does. I do represent some of the restaurants, and this is how we feel.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Blair Beekman.
Hi, thanks for this item. It was brought, I don't know how long ago, 6 months ago. This item was talked about, and it was set down, and it's brought back now. And what Councilperson Jones says, it sounds like it's going to be a hard winter. So good luck to people in those efforts. There's an item coming up, a next item on this agenda today that's going to talk about small businesses in the downtown area that should be of interest. I'll be wanting to talk on that. What a person from DoorDash seemed to say that they were able to talk to some certain committee more than another committee, and who they were able to talk to from the meetings of 6 months ago, wasn't it being discussed that there could be some sort of good government city government review and structuring of how things can proceed in the following months, and there'd be some sort of reporting that they could report back with that could give kind of some sort of guidelines how to work during this time. And I'm sure you already have relied on those to a certain degree, but I thought I'd mention them now that, it could be useful. Internal government study within a city is always valuable and helpful, and I hope you can rely on it at this time for direction for each side of the issue. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, coming back to the panel, Councilman Deb.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just want to, say that the proposal coming back to the committee today is not the exact same thing that I proposed a few months ago. we have reached out to the various delivery apps. We've done more outreach to some restaurants, and you've heard some of them here today. There is flexibility baked into this. It's not a hard cap. There's a cap with some wiggle room. So we're capping the fee at 15%, but then there are other fees that the apps can add on for advertising, marketing, and whatnot, with the upper limit of, I think, 18%. Just going back to my original reasoning for bringing this back months ago, is that restaurants put in the effort and pay the cost of rent, overhead, employee salaries, ingredients, and the sweat equity of cooking the food that we all like. And we know that the margins are thin. They're different for different food items, but just a few percent, right? And it used to be that takeout was a small portion of that in the ever-changing economy of the world as people start using apps. But dine-in was a thing. You could still pick up directly from the restaurant and cut out or not even rely on the DoorDash or the Grubhub folks or the Uber Eats folks. In this era of COVID, where we are mandated to stay at home, it is essentially, I mean, not exactly, but essentially, you're either selling food on to go or you're not. People still have the option of showing up and picking it up, but I think due to health concerns and whatever the case, that is a seldom used option. So essentially, restaurants are adhesively forced to use one of these apps, one or more of these apps. And that eats up a huge profit margin. And that is my concern. The struggling small business, this cap is set to expire once the economy opens up again. I don't mean to stifle innovation or anything of that sort, but I think it's worth pointing out that, and not to pick on DoorDash, but I think in their own public filings, they made from January through September of this year, during COVID, 198% profit year on year. I think revenues of 1.9 billion. This is nationwide, and so they're about to go out for an IPO sometime this month, and it's looking good for them. So I'm not concerned, at least in the immediate short term, that these apps aren't going to be able to innovate or aren't going to be able to get the revenue they need to survive in places like San Jose. And quite frankly, as a 10th largest city, if an app like DoorDash or Uber Eats can't survive in San Jose, their business model is quite flawed because we're the 10th largest city. If you can operate in New York and Chicago and super dense cities, that's great. But we are a suburban city, but we're also the 10th largest. So if you can't make it in San Jose, you're not going to cut it in Omaha or wherever else you want to spread out. And just to the point of innovation, I think that these apps provide a service and they're going to evolve. Right now they're doing food delivery, but the whole angle that they're going on their IPO is as a platform is a third-party logistics thing. They're going to start delivering things for Amazon and Walmart and groceries, and that's where the growth is. The growth shouldn't necessarily come on the small business owners and mom and pop restaurants in San Jose. And this is the point of the memo, that we try to protect those, and less so the chain restaurants who can cope with the struggling or this hard economy. And I'll end there. And if anyone has any questions or wants to chat.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right. I know that, Jonica, I know you've raised your hand. You have spoken already, and so I forgive me for not calling you again, but we typically allow one shot of public comment, and then obviously, although I guess someone did ask you a question. Is that right? Was it Vice Mayor? Do you want that question answered at this point?
I'm not sure if she's raised her hand to respond to my question, but I was actually satisfied with the response that I got back from Nate, so I'm good.
Yeah, I think we clearly understand the position. I think there's going to be another opportunity for this, presumably at council, for all of us to discuss this. So we will take it up then. Let's vote on the motion. This would be, and just to be clear, Lee, we have room to put this on the 15th?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great.
Davis?
Aye.
Camus? Camus?
No.
Jones?
Aye.
Ricardo?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have a proposal, I believe, from the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Arenas, if I'm not mistaken. And forgive me, I'm still pulling up the screen.
You are correct, Mayor.
Yes, would you, this is the procurement programs for minority-owned and other businesses. I'm not able to read the whole caption right now.
No, you don't.
On this, Vice Mayor?
Do we have any public speakers
Sure.
on this item first?
Mr. Beekman and Dennis King. Mr. Beekman, welcome.
Does this have to do with the businesses in downtown, small businesses in downtown?
No, it does not, Mr. Beekman. This has to do with, well, some of them may be small businesses downtown, but this has to do with procurement and small businesses.
Okay, I think this may be relevant, I guess, to the previous item. I'm hoping it is. And what I've been, what was talked about at City Council yesterday, and what, with the last item obviously implied, was that, it's going to be a really hard winter. It's going to be a tough winter. And, I'm really in favor of funding ideas and how funding can help at this time. And persons like Councilperson Carrasco said yesterday that, we have to consider ourselves, we're at a time, we have to consider more than just loan programs for people. People are really hurting, and there is ways to finance ourselves at this time to, really keep people afloat. And like I've been trying to say, these ideas of COVID are not really our fault at the local level. And I don't feel that we should be that much held responsible for that. And to be having to pay off its debt burden process is unbearable. It's a terrible predicament. And you guys are doing your best to help with that. And, just to remind of ourselves of that, that's an important concept. And, we have a couple years to go with the COVID before we can really get out of it, I think. And we just have to be, talking about it in these terms and being open with each other, how to discuss COVID. And I think there's going to be loan help that's needed for this program. And, I hope we can work on these issues together and just be open and what good practices that are possible in this time of COVID.
Thank you. Dennis?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Dennis King. I'm the vice chair of the San Jose Small Business Advisory Task Force, particularly working under District 1, but on behalf of the whole city. I'm also the executive director of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. My letter, and I'm calling in today to express very strong support for the recommendations identified in the memo by Vice Mayor Chappie Jones and Councilmember Sylvia Arenas. I view such recommendations, one such recommendation that they brought forth was for a disparity study. The last one that was done decades ago. Our world and our city has changed a lot since then. It's time, we think, for a reality check. It's time to shed some more light in the darkness in terms of our contract opportunities. We believe that over the years that they've been uneven. And so now is the time to take a reassessment in terms of where we are as we can plan for the future. But let me make a personal observation. That's not a complaint. I am not complaining about the Public Works Department. I am impressed with them and the Finance Department with their initiatives. Their Public Works Academy, I was in their first graduating class. I see their good intent. I see it firsthand. And so I'd like to congratulate them, but strongly suggest that we really need some light on the overall subject. This is not just a call for economic justice, but we also think it's a way of the city of San Jose recommitting its strong support for the small businesses that are here in San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. All right. Back to the committee. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So we moved this memo forward because it's a continuation of our efforts as a city, as well as all the hard work that staff has put in to create opportunities for small, local, and minority businesses because the vast majority of small businesses in San Jose are minority-owned businesses. We had a setback with Prop 16, it not passing, but there's still tools that we can use to move forward our efforts. And we have a series of recommendations in the Small Business Advisory Task Force letter that will move things forward. I know that one issue that got a yellow light was on a disparity study. And so I want to ask staff, one, to provide their feedback in a path forward on that, as well as their comments on the other recommendations in our proposal.
Sure, Vice Mayor, I'm happy to jump in, and Chris Hickey from Department of Public Works is here to fill in any details. So on recommendation one, obviously adding that to either next week's council meeting or if you wish to do that in January because of time, perfectly fine on reporting back. The reason for the yellow light on the disparity study and the others are they were unbudgeted, and that work would probably need funding to go ahead and move place. So we would recommend taking those recommendations and building it into the budget process so that the council has the opportunity to weigh those costs. And we could do that through a manager's budget addendum with what they would cost.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. And again, I want to thank staff, the folks in Public Works, Chris and Matt, and I can just rattle off a bunch of names of all the staff members who have been dedicated and committed to this effort. And I really want to thank you. I appreciate all your hard work and focus on moving this effort forward. And I'm very amenable, based on our previous discussion about the start time for the meeting on December 15th, to move that request to bring it to council in sometime in January. So I want to make that motion.
Second.
Second. And forgive me, Vice Mayor, so what does that mean about the funding issue? Is that go to the budget, or do we just trying to?
It would have to go to budget, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So since it's a yellow light, yellow light can either mean go to priority setting, or if it's a financial obligation, it goes into the budget process. So staff is committing to either manager's budget addendum 2 or 3, one of the first ones. We'll have this information in there for the council.
Great. Okay, thank you. All right, any comments? All right, let's vote.
Davis,
Aye.
Camus,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Now I believe we're on open forum. Okay. No, and we're not. We're on the Smart Cities Service Improvement Committee work plan. That's item 6. No, no, I'm sorry. Let's go up one more. H4. And again, I'm sorry for my problems. I'll get these straightened out on my computer. H4 is the Public Safety Committee work plan.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. I'm unable to see the screen right now. If the screen could be taken down, please. Thank you. Okay. From the public, Mr. Brinkman, this is specifically on the Public Safety Finance Strategic Support Committee work plan item and the approval of the work plan through June.
Yes, PIS items. Thank you very much. There is some pretty important connections to with PIS and smart cities, and they will be talking about both issues, about many issues that are interchangeable. So if it's okay, hopefully I can say a few words about the surveillance and technology of Vision Zero and neighborhood safety programs. There will be much new surveillance technology and data collection for local neighborhoods in Vision Zero in the name of neighborhood safety at this time. An important reminder of how open public policies can help with responsible practices, good democratic ideals, and the ideas of peace for the future of a community. Thank you. This is the work that Councilperson Esparza is doing. She mentioned some nice words yesterday about, I would like to be sober about how to talk about the future subjects of funding compared to loans. And Councilperson Esparza, very nicely mentioned yesterday that, there's a time that we save and we do, good practices with each other that are expected in this country. But we're kind of in a time of emergency for the next few years. And in those sorts of times, we have to consider creative ideas and try to be open to them and accepting. And it's difficult, but I hope we can do it. And I really feel for people what we're going to have to go through this winter, and I hope we make it. And there are other PISPIS items that I want to talk about, in terms of what was talked about at privacy policy issues last night. There's issues of say, the drone use, of the drone policy that was created in 2000.
Thank you. Calling user number 2.
Hi, Sam. You said open forum, and I didn't know how to lower my hand.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
So I'm done.
Okay, thanks. We'll call you in a moment. The person with the phone number ending 5140. Again, we're speaking specifically on the PISPIS committee work plan. We're not able to hear you at this time. Your device appears to be muted.
No, Sam, dude, I'm telling you, I keep hitting *6, I get nothing.
Look, I
keep hitting *6. I'm telling you, it happens every single time. Who else could it be?
I'm sorry that you are not able to do it on your end, and I recommend.
I'm able to do it on my end. Don't talk down to me like that. Who are you? Don't
but
talk
I'm
down.
not going to be blamed because I have no control over whether or not we can hear someone or not. I do not control the timing. I don't control anything on the device. Sir? Okay, we're going to move on.
Hello?
All right, back to the committee.
Do we have a motion already?
No.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, let's vote.
Davis?
Aye.
Camus? Camus? Jones?
Aye.
Ricardo?
Aye.
Passes with 3.
Okay, we're moving on to the Smart Cities and Service Improvement Committee work plan. And we'll hear public comment now on this item H6. Again, this is on the work plan for this committee from January to June. The person with the phone number ending 5140.
It works now. Great. Okay. Smart cities. We need to make this city smart because it's the dumbest city in the world as far as I'm concerned. This Zoom doesn't work. The 311 app doesn't work. And when it comes to budgeting, get rid of the traffic enforcement unit that you've doubled with BMW motorcycles that cost tens of thousands of dollars. Okay? This city needs to get smart with its spending. You guys approve everything. You guys rubber stamp every time. Where do you think this money is going to come from? I'd like to hear your answers. I bet Camus would answer me on this. Where's the money going to come from? He's a guy that doesn't like to be spending a lot of money all the time. And I don't understand where you guys are coming from. You want to close down businesses. You kowtow to the state. You kowtow to this county.
Smart Cities and Service Improvement Committee's work plan. Do you have anything to say on that item?
Yeah, you want to improve this city? You should resign.
Thank you. Blair Beekman?
Hi, everyone. There is Vision Zero items on the Smart City Committee, and I think there may be 4G and 5G stuff also. And, there's been just really good, how we practice the future of 4G and 5G, to learn, it takes trust and patience, but to learn how to offer, open public policy ideas with the placing of 4 and 5G. it's an important part in how to develop the future of sustainability of San Jose. And I know you've made some nice attempts to do that, privately within, small neighborhood groups and such. It's just a really good practice to have. And it really develops what a city is about. And so I hope you can do that. That is how you talk about bridging the digital divide. I feel it really helps with that. And, I described my feelings of Vision Zero already. About your privacy policies last night, we're learning how to talk about open public policy ideas more than just data privacy. And you had a bunch of, with the drone issues of 2014, that was a very, it turned out to be a very insular event and process. And I hope you can learn from those lessons and we can review that time, because it sounds like you want to question how to develop more open practices. And those are the questions of what is police allowed and emergency situations allowed compared to the civil rights and civil protections of people. To review that stuff's important at this time. And along with the sunshine ordinances I mentioned earlier, good luck in how we can grow. And it sounds like that we have chances to do that in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, coming back to the committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Let's vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Camus.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Ricardo.
Aye. All right, thank you. We're now on open forum. Mr. Beekman?
Hi, we are at the last open forum of Councilperson Camus of Open Government Forum. So thanks for all his help. And, he's been around privacy policy and open policy issues. So it's been kind of nice. So thanks. Thanks for all your work. About the commission process, it's time to consider, hopefully, a more open community practices for the future of San Jose community energy. And from this, a process needs to begin to allow better public access for the San Jose Clean Energy Commission. In fact, a process needs to develop for all the city commissions of San Jose to consider the ideas of better public input and review. As a step in this direction, and in wanting to always consider better public meeting ideas for the community process, can video public meeting minutes or simple written minutes of San Jose Commission meetings eventually be made more easily available to the everyday public. Thanks for your time. With 52 seconds, I guess, as a send-off to Councilperson Camus, I hope we can learn to talk about, we're learning the process of talking about government accountability and how we can all connect and make better connections in times of, say, emergencies and catastrophes and those sorts of issues. We're dealing with a presidential administration and a lame duck period. In that transition time, strange things can happen. So thanks that I think we're kind of doing that for ourselves and just kind of being aware and giving each other a check and double check. And thank you for that. And good luck to ourselves in 2021 with the decisions we'll be making. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Galen Osmer. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. How is everybody doing?
Doing fine, thanks.
I am here again as I come every winter asking the question, why Maya Esparza will not allow the Tully Library to be open for a winter shelter. There are many unhoused folks living at Tully, and ever since she's been a councilwoman, this is not happening, and we can't have any more deaths. It's been cold out there. And I just do not understand. I do not understand why nobody on the council will stand up and support opening the Tully Library. So We will not have any warming locations open this winter. South Hall is not open. I think it's open, but I think it might be closed right now because of the COVID. And we have thousands of people outside. I mean, you're not opening Bascom. So I don't know. It's a very sad situation. And I really hope you can think about maybe opening a few more warming locations. And also, just an FYI, I know how you feel, Mayor, about the CDC guidelines that I think personally you all violated, sweeping 25 unhoused folks. But they were supposed to start working on Monday, get that Coyote Creek going, that Coyote Creek Trail. But guess what? No starting. So abating the unhoused folks, which is going on now in other locations, is violating the CDC guidelines. And it's a travesty that this is happening. Thank you so much and happy holidays.
Thank you. The person with the, I'm sorry, the call-in user number 2, I believe that's Martha. Welcome, Martha.
Yes, it is. Okay, I'm not going to yell at you, and I'm not going to be critical. You guys put up with a lot of abuse for people that call in. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to do was thank Johnny for 8 years of standing up for fiscal responsibility, lower fees, and for God's sake, less taxes. So thanks, Johnny, for what you've done. I'd also like to say you guys get criticized a lot, but I would like to thank you from my heart for every penny that you are giving to the Meals on Wheels. It is a wonderful program. It's not just the food, it's the kindness of the drivers. And my last comment is there is a caller who continues to talk about commission minutes over and over. The commission minutes are easily available online at the city website. So just check it out. They're all there for you to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Person with the phone number ending 5140.
Oh, now it works. Great. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. I know you guys get paid for Christmas, but you always like to call it the holiday. You know, you don't ever want to say the word Christmas. Anyway, that's one thing I have a problem with is, you know, even Columbus Day, you guys were getting paid for that when you took the Columbus statue out. I want to know how that could ever happen. Oh, I think I know how. But yeah, it's Christmas, everybody. It's not a holiday or the holiday, right? So yeah, you know, it's Christmas in the park. I'm wondering when you guys are going to try to get rid of that. That'll be next. But Keys and Coda will probably get a repair job. But yeah, hey, thanks, Johnny. You tried to put some business sense into this city council. We'll see what happens. At least the pillhead that almost took your place, was going to replace you, I should say. Luckily, she's behind bars for a crime she committed. But yeah, I mean, the city needs to get reopened. You guys need to reopen the businesses. You have to stop kowtowing to the county and the city. It's ridiculous. I mean, the county and the state, I should say. The city council is weak. You guys need to stand up to the fascists of the county and the state and Gavin Newsom and tell them to go to hell, because this city is going to crumble if you're not going to be able to have businesses open. You're not going to have the tax revenue to do all these wonderful things that you want to do. It's not going to be there. You know it, and you keep doubling down on the wrong decisions, doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. Sam's more concerned about who's going to be the president than actually running his own town. You should see his Twitter page. It's unbelievable. I think he's got something for Trump. I think he's secretly in love with the guy. I don't know, but this city council with Johnny leaving is going to be even worse. Hopefully his.
Thank you. Have a nice day. The meeting's adjourned.